Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, General, for your service and for being here. And I, too, express my condolences to you and to the families for the loss of our two soldiers and, of course, our friend from the United Kingdom. General, this year, of course, the Air Force is asking us in their budget proposal to divest in critical ISR assets in a way to allow for more room to invest in new technologies and future ISR assets. And I'm very aware of the critical role that these ISR assets, some of these legacy assets have played in CENTCOM, including some from my home state of North Dakota. And I'd like your take on, first of all, what the Department of Defense and/or the Air Force have told you to expect with regards to meeting your ISR obligations or requirements if this FY21 budget is enacted.
Thank you, sir. I actually possess most of the ISR assets the department has, and I'm cognizant of that. At the same time, we were talking just a few minutes ago, as the former director of the Joint Staff and the J5, I'm very much aware of the need to prepare in turn to face the threat from China and the threat from Russia. Those are existential threats, and we need to capitalize, we need to invest, we need to move in that direction. For me, it actually comes down to a platform, and that platform is the MQ-9. That is the platform of choice in the CENTCOM AOR. It is a platform that can gather intelligence, it can strike, it can do all kinds of things. It's a jack of all trades. And I would prefer that the Air Force not divest of that resource right now to the degree that they're doing. I acknowledge that the Air Force has some tough decisions to make as they take a look at the future of the China threat. And the MQ-9 is not necessarily a platform that's useful in a dense air defense environment. Recognize that. But for right now, and for the threats that to me are much closer actually than the longer-term threats of China that are deeper and graver, I favor retaining those assets as long as possible.
I appreciate your answer, and I agree. The MQ-9 is really quite a remarkable asset, and we're just trying to assess the risk and whether the risk is worth it and how we transition, because I also agree that we need to get to another place. And with that in mind, I want to transition then in the discussion to the Space Force. And of course, we understand that many of the new technologies we're talking about would be space assets. And I'm just wondering how, first of all, are you expecting to get some benefit in CENTCOM from space ISR assets? I would expect the answer would be yes, but then the question becomes the gap between here and there and the risk in the middle of it. Are we preparing to adequately mitigate that risk?
Senator, I use space assets every day, every hour in U.S. Central Command, and they provide unique capabilities. The total ISR picture is best built when it's complemented by air-breathing platforms as well. But I am for all of my life, and particularly in U.S. Central Command, we can't survive without space assets.
I think you've answered my questions, including a couple that I haven't asked yet, so I appreciate that and appreciate the time, and I'm happy to yield back some time. Sure.